The 8th of June, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Rashi Omar, Yud Chesam base. Bottom of the page.
Rav Ashi Amar. Rav Ashi said, Kagon Deka Amar. The Brisa refers to a case where the agent who claims the bill of divorce refers to a case where the agent, who claims the bill of divorce says, Nekev, Yesh, Bo, Inside, Os, Polonis. There is a small hole besides a certain letter.
Who says this?
The agent, according to my English.
The agent. Oh, the shliach. Well, how?
He claims the bill of divorce. He says, I lost this and I found it, and I know it's the right one because it has this little hole next to the lamed.
So the shliach is saying that he knows that this get is the get that he gave.
That he lost.
That he lost? Oh, he never gave it.
Isn't this a case where the shliach lost the get and then he found it?
Yeah, when we say who lost, in other words, who lost the get?
He did.
Saying that the wife lost the get, or that the shliach lost the get. He never gave it to her.
The shliach lost the get. And then he found it. And he says, I can identify this get as being the one I lost because it has this little hole in it.
Mm-hmm. Shliach. Shliach says, yeah, okay. 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 Shliach says, Shliach says that he knows that this is the get that he gave. This is the get that he was supposed to give.
Right.
Okay. This is the get that he was supposed to give. Okay. 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 So let's see further. I don't see any Rashi. Oh, yeah, there is a Rashi over here. There is a Rashi. Rashi, once again, not exactly the same girsa that we have in our Gemora. Our Gemora is Kagon, to Ka'amar. And Rashi says, V'dafka, dafka b'tzad os plonis. Let's see what Rashi says.
That's the next thing. I didn't read it yet.
Oh boy. Right. Okay. So let's read the Gemara first.
V'dafka b'tzad os plonis. This is so, however, only if he specifies a hole alongside a certain letter, because that is considered a very distinctive identifying mark, which certainly suffices to reclaim a lost bill of divorce. Aval nekev ba'alma, but if he just says there's a hole someplace without identifying the specific spot, lo, it may not be returned, even if it has a hole.
Okay, all right. Now it's time to read Rashi.
Which Rashi we're reading? We're near the end of it, aren't
Rashi dira maskel v'dafka b'tzad os plonitz.
we? Wait a second, because we're near the end here.
So,
Okay, Badavka, Basad, Ot, Clonit, is that what you're saying?
yeah.
And really that there is on the side a sign of Plonit. That there is some sort of sign of Plonit, or a letter, some individual letter. Okay. The Hu Le Simon, because that's considered a Simon, Muvchak. It's a Simon Muvchak, it is, not just a plain Simon, but it's a real identifying mark. The Ifilu Im, even in Timtze Loma, even if you're able to say Gabe relating to Chazaret Aveda, returning a lost object, the Simon with the Simon, the Ibai and Iman, because you need it, will come on later on, as it says in Daf Zion Amar Aleph, the Oraita, that it's the Raisa or the Rabbanan, whether it's the Raisa or the Rabbanan, even though Pashta Mimena, it's that's like no Pashta Simenon. The Simon is goes out from it. The Rabbanan is Rabbanan. If you think that the Simon is a Rabbanan factor, Yesh Lismoch, you should rely al Simon on that Simon, Mufchak, on that good identifying mark. Because that is the Mishrei Beishet Ish, because that's a Doraisa. That is because what is the Mishra? Something that Ish is Doraisa.
To make her shari, to make her permissible.
They permitted her. Yeah, you can permit. It does permit her Doraisa.
Yeah, because that's the issue over here, is whether the only the correct get is going to be a proper gerushin, and thus she's going to be a muteris bashuk. She'll be permissible. She'll no longer be an Eishasish. If it's the wrong get, so then there's no gerushin that's been done. She's still an Eishasish. So it's a very weighty question over here to judge on this hole in the document. So we're saying we got to have what's called a siman muvhak. That's the best most probative siman, and therefore an indication that this is in fact the get that the shliach lost. It's not just he's saying that the get had a hole in it. He's saying the get had a hole right over the os hey, let's say, for example. So that's a grade A siman. So that'll be sufficient even to lemishrei Eishas Ish, deraisa. Okay, but anything less than that, it sounds like we'll say no, it won't be enough. We won't give the get back. In other words, we won't return the get. Okay. Okay. Now Rav Ashi Masafkale.
Rashi Meshachkele. Rav Ashi was uncertain. Simanim, identifying marks E d'oraisa, E d'Rabbanan. Is it a biblical or rabbinic law that we accept these identifying marks?
Hmm.
Okay. Let me read the Rashi on that. The Mesafka le Rabashi Simon, the Rab, that there's he's in doubt, Rabashi, about the Simon. Shemachzirin, the hen, Aveda, that you should return a lost item, E deraisa he, if it's deraisa that you have to return a lost object. The ifilu the issa the deraisa, even if it's a deraisa, samechin samchinen a simon. We rely on the simon called who any amount. And either rabbanan, but if it's rabbanan about returning it, shemachazrein the hand, because you return a veda, no, I just read that. Either rabbanan, that's later on. The dafka, specifically, the veda with a lost object, shehefke, based in made it hefka. Haval the midi, the isara, but with if it is made forbidden below samachin, we don't rely on it. The e kasha, if it's a question, it could be a difficulty. Namely, we'll say hacha here, kasava simanin, that we hold a simanin is the rabbanin. The nishbot ba'anin, and we need it to be put out, like later on. Love pircha. We don't ask he the manara on it. Obvious. The doubt. The permitted mistake from a doubt on it.
No idea. What is Rashi saying? Okay, I got no idea what Rashi's saying over here.
I have a footnote.
Okay, let's read the much, we might get a mitzvah Talmud Torah that way.
We will do the lost
All right.
object.
Yes. Not hearing.
You can't hear me?
I hear you. I hear you.
Rabbi, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah.
We will learn in the next chapter that lost objects are returned to the person who claims them if he can name their simon. Right. However, the Gemora below raises the question whether ordinary simanim are considered a reliable means of identification under biblical law and should therefore be accepted in all areas of law, including marital affairs, e.g., returning a get or identifying a dead man so that the wife may remarry, or whether they are considered reliable only under rabbinic law, as a special leniency applied to monetary matters. The basis of such a leniency would be the power of the rabbinic courts to declare the property ownerless, hefker based in hefker. Since they could declare any lost object ownerless, they could just as well decree that it be returned to a claimant on the basis of an identification that falls short of the normal requirements of evidence. If the latter view is correct, the leniency is obviously limited to monetary matters, cannot be extended to matters of prohibition. Thus, naming the simon would not be sufficient for the return of a get, since returning it would enable a woman to remarry. Since Rav Ashi does not permit returning a get with anything less than a truly distinctive simon, the Gemora concludes that Rav Ashi is undecided in this matter, which indeed remains unresolved in the discussion in the next chapter, according to Rashi.
Okay, this is a very important thing. What the note is saying over here. It's a very important principle in the principle of Hefker Bezdin Hefker. The Rashi mentioned over here. What is it? We've seen this before. Hefker Bezdin Hefker. Bezdin has the authority to when it comes to things that people own. So it's a matter of a monetary issue. Who owns this thing? So that's really the Gemora in the next parak of Elu Metzias. Somebody lost something, and now he goes to the guy that says he found it, and he says, "Give it back to me because I got the following simon." And so that simon is enough for us to say that the guy's got to give it back to him. The one that found it, he's got to give it back to the one that gives the simon. So that's very nice when it comes to monetary matters, because we got a cloud of Hefker Bezdin Hefker. That means that Bezdin has the authority over people's money, over people's possessions. They can declare the possession Hefker if it so suits their if they feel that it's a proper thing to do for the sake of the running of society, whatever it is. And so over here, they could, when it comes to a lost article, they could do that, and accordingly, they can also say that if the guy says the following identifying simon, so you give it back to him also. But that's all when it comes to mammon. But now we're talking about an area of Isser. We're talking about the matter of an Ashes Ish. An Ashes Ish, it's not just a matter of who owns this get. It's a matter of that with this get, you're going to matter an Ashes Ish. So that's an Isser, and maybe we can't use the simon at all. Because Hefker Bezdin Hefker doesn't help mater and Ashes Ish, just to say that it's this property, this get belongs to the one who gives the simon. So that's what the Gemara is saying over here. The Rav Ashi says he's willing only to give the get back if it's a very very called the simon muvhak, such as the shliach says he found it on the nekev of the underneath the a certain os in the get. Okay, so that's all what Rashi's talking about.
But I'm a little confused because Rav Ashi clearly stated that you don't give it back unless it's very distinctive.
Right?
He's saying he's uncertain.
You mean to say if he says that he's uncertain about simonim, he should be even uncertain about whether a simon muvhak works? Is that your question?
No. My question is, it seems clear that he is not uncertain, that he says, if it's a simon muvchach, then you return it. Otherwise, don't return it. So why does it now say he's uncertain?
Oh, in other words, well, because, yeah, they didn't explain that. They didn't. The Rashi didn't explain it, and the Art Scroll didn't explain it, because they can only explain as much as Rashi explains. So let me explain to you. I think what the further point is. The Gemora over there, Rashi does mention it. An ordinary simon, right? Look at the words of Rashi. Rashi says, "Afilu, afilu be'isa deraisa samchinen asimin koldehu." We're talking over here about an ordinary simon. That's the way I'm understanding Rashi. In other words, the discussion in the Gemora is about what if you have an ordinary simon, what we call a simon koldehu. It's a simon koldehu, such as if the shliach would say, I know that this the get that I lost, it had a hole in the get. Oh, where did it have a hole in the get? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that. Oh, it was over here, it was over there. I don't know, but I know for a fact that it had a hole in it. Oh, very nice. You know that it had a hole in it. That's called a siman koldehu. That's not called a siman muvhak. A siman muvhak means I know that there was a hole that was right on the left side of the letter hey in the get. So that's he knows exactly where the hole was, and we see that that's exactly where the hole is in the get. Oh, so that means that he really knows that this is the get. That siman muvhak, Rashi is saying is understanding that's not the subject of this uncertainty. The uncertainty is regarding an ordinary siman. But the reason why Rashi, the reason why Rav Ashi is saying you need a siman muvhak is because he's uncertain whether a ordinary siman would help at all.
So when he says aval nekev ba'alma lo, that's not a statement of certainty.
Right. He's not sure that that's good enough.
I see.
Right, because you see, right, you understand that it's got to be like I'm saying, because otherwise you'll say, well, if he's in doubt about whether simanim works, so why does he say that a siman muvhak works?
Right.
So
I'm saying, why does he say that a siman, the other kind? I forget what it was.
koldehu.
Kaldahu?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, why does he say a siman kaldahu doesn't work?
Why does he say it doesn't work?
Yeah. Why doesn't he say he's not sure? Oh, he's saying since he's not sure, it doesn't work.
Since he's not sure that it doesn't work, he says you don't give it back in that case.
Right. And they're just explaining the reason he says you don't get it back is because he's not sure. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, what's right? Rav Ashi Mesaf Gulei b'Simonim Idaraisa Idarabonin. In other words, where is it? What's the source? What's the source for saying that a siman will help in regard to the issue of giving a lost item back to the one that claims the siman?
But wait a second. Now that you've read that again, I have a question about the wording. It says simanim e deraisa o derabanan.
Right?
Say siman mufchak or siman the other kind. I might have a mental block on that one. It doesn't say which kind it's in doubt. It says he's in doubt about all simanim.
Okay, very good. So I hear your question. It's an excellent question. But according to what I'm saying, you got to say that when he says simanim, he means all those simanim that are only a siman kol dehu.
Uh-huh. Well, that's clearly what the English is saying.
Yeah, that's what we have to say that. So if simanim, meaning a siman kol dehu, an ordinary siman, like he says, I saw that it had a hole in the document. Does that help deraisa? Yeah, and the implication is if the siman, if the identification would be sufficient, if simanim are deraisa, what that means is whether it's in regard to monetary matters, giving back a lost item, or whether it has implications in regard to permitting an ashes ish, that'll be sufficient if it has a ordinary siman.
So we're saying siman mufchak is deraisa, and a siman kol dehu is derabanan.
Okay, I mean, our question, we don't have any question about siman muvhak. Siman muvhak is definitely deraisa.
Right.
Our question, what we don't know, what we're saying that Rav Ashi doesn't know, what he's mesupik about, is whether a siman kol dehu, an ordinary siman, is the Torah validating that as a siman, or is or no? The Torah is not validating that as a siman.
Right. So we don't know that it's rice or derabanan. We're just in doubt.
Right. And since we're in doubt, we have to be concerned for the possibility that it's only derabanan. And since it's only derabanan, it would only work in the case of a case like returning a lost item. When we have, so therefore we have, Rashi says, the principle of hefker bezdin hefker.
Right.
But that's not going to help for Isser, especially Isser of Eshes Ish.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I see. That's yeah. That's clearly the way I think we're very good. Baruch Hashem. Okay.
Weiter?
Yeah, weiter.
Rabba Bar Chana, Rabba Bar Chana, Um, Irkas lay Gita Bay Mide Rasha. He lost a bill of divorce in the study hall. Amar, he said, Rabbi Barachana said, E Simana, if you will accept an identifying mark to return the bill of divorce to me, Islay Begane. I have one. E Tivius Ena. If you will accept visual recognition, Isli Begave. I have it. Ad Ahad Roha Ni Hale. They returned it to him. He said, Rabbi Barachana said, Lo Yadna. I do not know E Mishum Simana Ahad Ruha Ni Hali. I don't know if they return it to me because of the simon. Uka Savre Simanin Doraisa. And they hold that a simon is Doraisa. In English says an ordinary simon. Or the Rabbanan. Imishum Tivius Ena Hadaruha Nihali, or whether they return it to me because of my visual recognition. Vidavka Tsurva Midrabanan. If so, they would return the bill of divorce only to a completely scrupulous rabbinic scholar. Aval inish de alma lo. But to an ordinary person, no, they would not return it. So visual recognition means what? He looks at it and he says, I recognize this?
Yeah.
Even though there's no simon?
Well, he's recognized, in order to recognize it, in a sense, there's some kind of an item to recognize it that is a simon, right? How does he recognize it without it being, quote unquote, a certain type of simon? I don't know.
That's what I'm wondering. What is it?
Yeah.
How does he recognize it? If there's no simon, if there's a simon, then it's a simon.
Okay, good question. So we have Rashi's over here.
Okay, and there's a distinction between a mufchak and a regular simon. We have some Rashis here, and it is going to be time since I don't know how much you want to do out of the Rashis, because we're not going to get to the end of all the Rashis today.
Yeah, I think we're out of time, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have a lot of all these Rashis to do tomorrow on it, and then there is definitely a note, a long note in the art scroll that we'll have to go to also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good day. Take care. Be well.
All the best.
Bye.
Have a great day and a great week. Bez Hashem.
All right. Very good.
Take care.
Bye, Phil. Bye, Lou.